Welcome to Movie House Cinemas. Popcorn? Yes, please. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the movie. Reclining chairs? Don't mind if I do. Action, thriller, romance, we got it all. Discover the cinema today. Movie House Cinemas, home of the movies.
Good evening, and welcome along to Rob and Elliott tonight. Good to have your company with us once again. What a show we have lined up for you. Coming up, we'll be chatting to Eastenders star Natalie Cassidy.
With the podcast now as well, I'm being kind of known for Natalie, and that's really lovely as well. I'm creating this community where people are really getting to know me and you know, my family and what I get up to, which is also kind of a new bow to the violin, if you like.
We'll be talking about childhood holiday memories with A Place in the Sun star Amanda Lamb.
I remember having to do all the, because obviously there was no mobile phones when I was growing up. We'd make these little booklets for the car, you know, how many red cars can you see, or count the pylons. God, the hours, they just flew by.
We'll have brand new music from Boyzlife. We'll be talking about this year's Aspects Literary Festival with Creighton and Emma McKervey.
Everyone wants their crime fiction with a bit of light and shade, don't they? And that kind of humour, which we just, you know, do the dark humour really well.
And we'll be finding out about this year's Minorities Recognition Awards with Diane Davis.
It was all about, you know, showcasing the role model from the ethnic minority community into business in Northern Ireland, because there's no platform for them to be able to, you know, to expose them. And that's why we actually created the organization for the ethnic minority community, where we bring all those, the whole Northern Ireland together, and then let them see who is there contributing to the economy of the country from the ethnic minority community.
But as always, let's begin by talking about some of this week's quirky news stories. We do love a world record, and Kim Kelly knows she hasn't broken one, but she's got a world record breaking story for us, haven't you?
I do. I'm here with the Guinness Book of Records, and this is a particularly not great one. Okay, well, I mean, I guess it's great for him. So this wonderful man from New Jersey has won the world record for playing World of Warcraft for 80 hours straight.
Right,
which
okay.
Is over 3 days, yeah. 80 hours, and he gets 5 minutes off every hour to go to the loo. Justin O'Donnell, yeah, he sat for 80 hours playing World of Warcraft. I can think of nothing worse.
No, exactly, yeah.
It's a very dull world record.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
And
it is.
Yeah,
I met an old guy called Billy yesterday, right? And he's entering the world records for next year. And he is a human calendar, right?
Right.
If you give him your birth date, he can
Love
tell
people
you
like that.
straight away what day you were born on.
Love people like that.
And he's going to try to get so many, whatever the world record is, see if he can break this in one go.
That is a fantastic skill.
We've got to get him on the show as well.
Yes, that's a fantastic skill. I've only ever met one person like that, and they were autistic.
Yeah,
and they were amazing. Yeah,
but it's actually very mathematical.
Yes, there is like a rhythm to it.
Algorithm thing to work out. Yeah.
So anyway, we're not going to try and beat that record. So moving on, we're going to talk about perfume, and it's for your dog.
That's Mia's Christmas present.
85 sorted. Would you spend 85
Of course I'd spend that on her, yes.
Okay, now has anybody...
Would you not spend it in your little pooch?
Not indeed. Now, has anybody been watching Selling Sunset? You know that awful thing on Netflix? I love it. And you know the people, they sell the real estate all over LA. All right, anyway. The little dog in that, Nico, was 18 and he died. So they had a funeral for him, like a proper sit-down funeral. They're all in big black hats.
Why not? Your dog is part of your family.
Well, it is. And I think people do try and make light of it and go, oh, well, you know, it's not the same. But
it is.
But for many people who don't have children, or maybe whose children have grown up, or I mean, I do think you're right that it's wrong to say to people, oh no, your love, you know, love is love, you know,
exactly.
it's not, you know, it's not sort of measured on, well, I love this more than that, So I think it is proper that people should have dog funerals, and I think maybe we should embrace it a little bit more.
I think so.
Because it's not that long ago. Like nowadays, if you have a dog and it dies, someone says, "Oh, just get another one." But it's not that long ago that's how doctors treated ladies who'd lost babies. So and things that that's within my lifetime. That's within maybe 30, 40 years that they'll just have gone there, just have another child. So I think things are finally catching up. And
what I'd love to know is doggy funerals a thing here?
Like the cremations and stuff. No, I don't think they are, but I think they could be.
Yeah.
To have a proper because what do you do when your dog dies? You sort of leave it at the vet, and you don't get the ashes back or anything.
I know some
in
people
Selling
have.
Sunset, they got the ashes back.
Right. Okay. I'd like to get the ashes back.
Yeah, so you could do something with it.
Yes,
yeah, it is. It's sort of a funny one. It's and people think, oh no, it's just a dog, but it's not just a dog.
No,
it's not just a dog. They are part of the family.
You could always have them stuffed, couldn't you?
I used to live when I lived in London. I lived near a taxidermist. Fascinated me.
There's something scary about them, though.
I think whenever you die, I might have you stuffed.
Really? Can you imagine coming into your living room and there I am sitting there in front of your TV?
It's gone quite out of fashion, taxidermy, but it did used to be a thing, didn't it?
It did. Yeah. I mean, I've seen people.
Do you have any stuff around your house? I think my dad's got stuff in his house that came from his parents' house. Animal like a little squirrel or something.
Well, I was in a house recently that had a fox.
Yeah, and you can't throw it out because you think, oh God, I can't throw it out.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe it'll come back in fashion.
Are there any taxidermists still out there?
Well, there was that one in London. I mean, I'm sure there was taxidermists in Belfast back in the day. There's bound to have been.
Is there somebody right now watching this programme stuffing animals? Is there? And if there is, what's the biggest animal you've stuffed?
What a very odd
that could
conversation.
Be a bit of investigation for us into the world of taxidermy.
Let's talk about something more cheerful.
Right, okay.
Okay, let's talk about things that we loved in childhood, things that we loved eating in childhood. There's been a new survey done about our favourite childhood food. Guess what it was? And it's mine.
Oh, I don't know, what?
Angel Delight, butterscotch flavour. Do you remember how lovely that was?
I haven't had that in about 40 years.
I had it fairly recently, within the last 5 years, but I remember, when did we stop eating stuff like that? And do you remember every meal used to end, back in the sort of 70s and 80s, every meal would end with Angel Delight or jelly or ice cream and some tinned peaches.
I haven't had jelly in years either.
When was the last time you had tinned peaches?
Haven't had tinned peaches.
Or fruit salad, a tin of fruit cocktail.
Oh yes.
It was lovely.
I used to fight over the cherry.
And the grape, there was like 2 grapes and 1 cherry.
It was a bit miserable of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it came in syrup and it was delicious.
But the one thing I always had lots of the hard bits. I always poked the hard bits, the gritty bits.
That was the pear.
Out.
That was kind of the pear.
I poked the pear out and threw it away.
I wasn't. But that was something you had. You would have had like cheap ice cream, because all ice cream back then was cheap. It wasn't. It was that stuff that came in the flat block. Remember? Yeah. And you'd cut a slice of that. And then you would have like an old tin pear.
Yes.
And a bit of chocolate or a bit of chocolate sauce or something.
I haven't had the 3-in-1 ice cream in a while.
What do you call that? Neapolitan?
Neapolitan, that's it.
That was, when did people stop buying the bricks of ice cream?
Yeah, exactly. Do you still get them?
I don't know. And when did we stop having pudding after every meal? Like you used to have like a yogurt or bowl of ice cream or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not the only thing that was on this list. It wasn't only Angel Delight. It was crispy pancakes.
Love them.
Never really had them.
Oh, I love them.
My mum didn't like processed food. She liked to make from scratch. She thought they were a bit expensive.
Well, they were completely processed.
Yeah,
they were like, do you remember the Bernard Matthews turkey things as well?
The turkey shapes.
Yes, yeah.
What were they called? You can still get those.
Can you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the other thing would be wagon wheels, which are...
Can you still get wagon wheels?
Oh, you can still get them.
Have they not got smaller?
They've got smaller, or have we just got bigger?
No, they've got smaller.
I don't know. They always taste slightly stale.
I had a Snickers bar the other day, and it's tiny.
Tiny
Tiny little thing.
Am I just bigger? I don't know.
No, they're shrinking. It's shrinking.
It's like whenever you used to get your selection box at Christmas, it was like this massive, extravagant thing.
Yeah.
And now it's like...
little tiny things.
And I make more things on this list. Salt and shake crisps.
Oh, the little blue bag.
Lovely.
Love them.
Yeah.
Love them.
Do you still get those?
I don't know.
I haven't
seen them in a while. And then, do you remember the little chocolate tubs you got? The little biscuit, the little long finger biscuits.
What did
and you dip the little fingers into the chocolate.
Sticks. What were they called?
Oh, I don't know, but
they were about that height.
Yes.
And the chocolate, and it was like Nutella, really.
It was like Nutella, yeah, and you dip the wee things in. Yeah.
Oh, we're getting so nostalgic. Other things were alphabeti spaghetti.
Yes.
I quite like that because you could write,
You could, yes. Yeah.
poo in your and then put it around your sister. That's you.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I miss these things. We're getting a little bit nostalgic today.
We are, aren't we?
Yeah. So we've gone from stuffing our pets to eating alphabetic spaghetti today.
It's been a weird one today.
It's been an unusual one. We've got a funny vibe, haven't we?
Yeah. Okay, we're talking poetry next as well, by the way. So
right.
this show's all over the place.
Lift things.
Just to lift things up. Right, we'll see you back same time next week.
Yes.
Yeah. Right, up next we're talking about this year's Aspects Literary Festival, which is back in Bangor between the 25th of September and the 6th of October. On the way next we'll be chatting about Female Voices, which features poet Emma McKervey and Kelly Creighton. We'll meet both of them in just a second, but we got a poem from Emma McKervey.
The Way Beyond. On Sundays, the smell of sugar and steel and fish is gone. Greenock is quiet, and I want to walk the streets which call me to the way beyond and lead down to the ships which could take me there. Jamaica, Tobago, Madeira. They ask me to pace their length to the heave of the docks unswarmed by men. The clouds are heavy, and in the library tower small light struggles where the librarians have their rooms and where they too wish to take those ships, but instead tiptoe to the locked up stacks and borrow unstamped books to tell them about it instead. Lick their finger to turn each page and lick again, hoping for sweetness or salt or spice to find its way through the words and onto their paper dry skin. My dad goes to the Gaelic Kirk, wishes me to go along with him, although I do not understand as he thinks I should. The precentor sings a psalm line and they respond. It goes so slow, each word held as long as each breath holds out. The sound swells and fades as the wake from a launching. When you watch from the railings and wonder, where does all that water go when forced apart by a great disrupting hull?
Brilliant, there we go. A little taste of what you can expect from Female Voices at this year's Aspects Literary Festival. We'll be chatting to Emma McKervey and Kelly Creighton right after these.
Heading to the North Coast? The Jet Centre in Coleraine offers entertainment for everyone. There's an 8-screen movie house cinema with all the best movies, 10-pin bowling, a massive arcade, soft play for the wee ones. Outdoors, there's a mini fun park and gem mining, plus an 18-hole floodlit mini golf course. Rain or shine, there's something for everyone here at the Jet Centre. Find out more at thejetcentre.co.uk.
And welcome back to Robin Elliott. Tonight, just before the break, we heard Emma McKervey reading a poem. Emma's appearing at this year's Aspects Literary Festival, along with Kelly Creighton, and both of them join us now in the studio. Welcome. Emma, fabulous poem that you read there just before the ad break. Tell us the kind of story behind that poem.
Well, the book Highland Boundary Fault is based on an old family story of my great-grandparents. So my great-grandfather, Donald MacArthur, was from the Outer Hebrides. He grew up in the Isle of Lewis, and he travelled to Greenock Docks to train as a shipwright in the 1890s, where he met Lizzie, whose father worked as a head gardener for Sir Alexander Park Lyell of Tate and Lyle Sugar Company.
Right.
Yeah, so she kind of grew up in this kind of quite isolated walled garden, you know, it was all very cultivated. Whereas Donald came from these wild islands, you know, and would have spoken Gaelic as his first language. But he went back for Christmas in Hogmanay, and they had arranged to write to each other. But the letters were intercepted by a jealous village girl who was in love with Donald. And the whole thing ended up as a sheriff's court case and actually changed how the postal system worked on the island because of this, the stealing of letters. Because the letters were just kind of left in the schoolmistress's rooms, yeah. And someone might be passing by with a cart to go somewhere and knows someone who that might, you know, I'll read that to them because they can't read and I'll pass that on. You know, it was all very casual. So the sheriff's court case changed the situation on the Lochs area of the island. So that's what the book is based on, that story.
Wow, so is all your poetry kind of based around family experiences and looking back at your family's life?
This collection is, and
Yeah.
the collection I'm just finishing off at the minute is as well. So hopefully it'll be published in the next 18 months or 2 years, the next one. So this is my mother's side of the family. So my mother's father's side of the family worked for Whitechapel Bell Foundry for 250 years in East London.
Right.
So it couldn't get more diametrically culturally opposite as these two experiences. So they lived in Whitechapel through the Victorian age. They cast Big Ben, they cast Liberty Bell. My great-great-uncle was pulled through the street on top of Big Ben by 6 white horses where he was going to hang the bell. And
wow.
Yeah, so that's what my next collection will be about. I'm just interested in how working class lives can have such a cultural impact.
Exactly. How easy is it for poets to get their work published these days?
Not easy. That's the answer. Yes, you have to have a very, very thick skin and expect at least 9 rejections per 1 acceptance, really.
You plugging away for years before you got your first
Yes,
break,
actually one of the first people to publish me was Kelly in her incubator journal about a decade ago. So
wow.
it's a long haul, definitely, and you need to not be too precious about things. It's like you need to have a slightly zen attitude. You can't get too upset about the disappointments, but on the other hand, then you can't be too pleased with yourself when it works out as well.
It must be great to see it published in your hand when you get the book.
It's a beautiful thing. Terrace Press, who published this book, have been amazing, and the painting on the front's by my husband as well. He's a visual artist.
Wow.
So he was stuck trailing around the Highlands and Islands of Scotland with me when I was researching the book, and it was a bit of an adventure. Thankfully, the Midgies preferred him to me, so that's always a plus.
Let's bring Kelly in. Kelly, first of all, tell us about this Female Voices event that's happening. What can we expect from this event then?
Yeah, well, it's myself and Emma and Victoria Kennefick, and it's going to be all of our work. I know that both of our new books, myself and Emma, are about Victorian court cases, which was just quite
synchronous.
It was synchronicity, wasn't it? And Victoria Kennefick's is more about like female and the body, I would say, but they all tie in one way or the other, and it's just going to be really diverse, but it's going to have those common threads of being a female Northern Irish writer, and we all know about that publishing journey, that creative journey. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I had Victoria's. I've known Emma's work for a long time, and whenever Victoria's collection came out, I got it straight away. So I'm a big fan of her writing as well. So I'm really looking forward to taking part in the event. I think it'll be great.
So the event is 29th of September. It's a Sunday. It's in Bangor Castle, and it's free as well.
I know, it's bargain.
Wow, yeah.
So I think the idea is that it's going to be quite a casual, brunch event. So it's at 11 o'clock in the morning. So people will be more of a discussion and dispersed with readings, and very open to conversation and questions from the audience.
Okay, Kelly, let's talk about your latest work, Unbecoming. I'm kind of fascinated by this.
Yeah. Well, this is really the story of a court case around this woman, Polly Bodine, and in this little kind of pamphlet, it's not quite a collection like Emma's, it's just a little pamphlet of poems, and they're in poetic form because I was doing a poetry masters. I just wrapped that up this time last year, and I really loved the classes on form. But I am a crime writer, really. I suppose I have a detective series, and other standalone books which are more crime. So when I write poetry, it would be quite personal, but I thought I would wonder what it would be like to marry that interest in true crime particularly. I'm a big fan of true crime documentaries and everything. So maybe I chickened out a little bit by not going for anything too recent, and upsetting people, and thinking about the ethics of writing about true crime. But I was really intrigued by this story. It was in 1843 on Staten Island. On Christmas Day, a young mother called Emmeline Houseman and her little baby, a little toddler, they were murdered and then set on fire. and the suspect was Polly Bodine, who was Emmeline's sister-in-law, her husband's sister. And what was interesting about that is that she was heavily pregnant. She was put in prison. She had the baby. Then they thought the baby died. Had she killed the baby? Had she not? And it just kind of snowballed. She was involved with quite a lot of very interesting men in her life, but it was like the modern day Amanda Knox kind of story, you know.
Yes, yeah.
There's this big scandal about this woman who was, she liked to drink and she'd had terminations. So for that time, she was really a fallen woman is what they would call her, but whether that made her a murderer or not was really the case. And there's still nothing really conclusive about if she did do it or not, but her case really intrigued me.
Okay, we'll hear a little extract in just a second, but I want to come back to your crime books as well, because Northern Ireland has really taken off in the crime fiction world. It's like we're the capital of crime fiction, aren't we?
Yes, well, definitely. I think we really lend ourselves to crime because we have that history, that darkness, but also I think everyone wants their crime fiction with a bit of light and shade, don't they? And that kind of humour, which we just, do the dark humour really well in the in our crime fiction as well. And it's great to see.
I mean, your book, it's great to see a female lead character as well.
Yes, yeah. I think, it was very male-centric, and then in the south of Ireland, we had like Liz Nugent and all these different writers, Joe Spain, etc., just really taken off, and that was brilliant. And we were a little bit after that, I would say.
Yeah.
The male crime writers started to write in a female voice and have those characters, and now it's just great to see more people coming out there, like Kerry Buchanan and Sharon Dempsey, and
so for people who have been following your Harriet Sloane stories, is there going to be any more? There's
going to be a 5th book, but just with life getting in the way, I don't know when that would come out, but the idea is there, and it's kind of working in the background.
And of course, you're always watching good crime shows on TV as well, so at the moment, in case we've missed anything, what should we be looking out for? What should we be watching then?
I really love Kin, which is, the Kinsella family in Dublin, and it's a gangland kind of show, and I think I really picked up pace with the 2nd series. I wasn't so enamoured on it with the first, but I think the characterizations are just brilliant in it, and it's definitely one to watch.
Okay, we're going to hear an extract now from Unbecoming.
And this is called Nativity, and as I said, because I was trying to write in form, this is a sonnet, a Petrarchan sonnet, and it sets the scene. Nativity. On Staten Island, 1843, through cold sunup, Christmas morning arrives. Emmeline and infant daughter arise, breakfast, then visiting with family. 2 boys walking home late from a party that night see clear before their blood-red eyes. Emmeline's house aflame, bereft of cries. It will go down, one heck of a story. Seen, mother and infant lie in cinders, throats sliced, skulls split, house ransacked, silverware pilfered, ceilings fire blackened, fabric tied around wrists, knots like sailors. Captain Houseman gone fishing for oysters. Suspect, his heavily pregnant sister.
Brilliant. Okay, well, you can catch Female Voices at Bangor Castle on the 29th of September. Kelly and Emma, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
And let's take a look now at some of the other highlights of this year's Aspects Festival. Foy Vance will be in conversation at Studio 1A on Wednesday the 25th of September. There's also going to be a unique evening of words and music as an all-star quartet comes together to share a wonderful selection of songs, airs, readings and banter with Glenn Patterson, Neil Martin, Anthony Toner and Rod McVeigh. They're going to be in Bangor Castle on Thursday the 26th of September. Hold Your Tongue is not a stand-up show but a hybrid of poetry and storytelling from award-winning writer and performer Owen O'Neill. And that show comes to Bangor Castle on Friday the 27th of September. In Mary Costello's new book, Barcelona, we meet a cast of characters who live turbulent inner lives. In a Spanish hotel room, a marriage unravels as a young wife is haunted by a past love. We'll find out about Mary Costello's Barcelona on Saturday the 28th of September in Bangor Castle. Also on Saturday 28th of September there will be the Poetry Slam Ulster Final. And this dynamic, competitive event pits poet against poet, and they're working against the clock and their peers to showcase original work. For more details, check out the Aspects website. Published to coincide with Michael Longley's 85th birthday, Ash Keys looks back on the extraordinary career of Michael Longley on Sunday the 29th of September in Bangor Castle. Thursday the 3rd of October, it's John Hume, The Full Picture, a unique evening in the company of his biographer and his official portrait artist. Writer Stephen Walker and artist Colin Davidson, who are both Bangor-based, give revealing insights into the life of John Hume, an icon of Irish political life for decades. Also on Thursday, the 3rd of October, Paul Tweed takes us from Hollywood to Hollywood and gives you a rare glimpse behind the scenes of Paul Tweed's high-octane career, navigating huge egos and high stakes to protect the reputations of the most visible but intensively secret stars on this earth. And he'll be chatting about his brand new memoir by one of the most fearsome media lawyers in the world of his 4-decade career defining royals and A-list celebrities. Catch Paul Tweed at Bangor Castle on Thursday the 3rd of October. Friday the 4th of October, there's going to be a crime night with Andrew Hughes. And also on Friday the 4th of October, Bangor's Ghost Stories That Survive the Grave. And for more details on anything happening in this year's Aspects Festival, check out the website details which are on your screen right now. We're going to take a break and then we're going to come back with A Place to the Sun star Amanda Lamb. She'll be chatting about childhood holiday memories right after these.
Here we are on the North Coast, where sporting legends are made. He needs this putt to advance to the next stage, but can he do it? The crowd are holding their breath. Can he cope with the pressure?
Dad, would you take the shot?
Yes! Yes! Well.
And welcome back to Rob and Elliott Tonight. We're talking now about turning your kids' dream holidays into a reality within a budget. And I'm pleased to say that travel expert and a TV presenter Amanda Lamb joins us now. How are you today?
I'm really well. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So we're talking budgets and holidays now. Is it possible to get a good deal then?
It's super important when you go on holiday with children to make sure they're happy, because there's nothing worse than I'm bored. What are we doing? Where are we going? I would suggest when you're planning for next year to sit down with them and ask them to write down on a piece of paper the top sort of 3 or 5 things that they like doing, that they want to get out of it. Lots of kids love beaches, water parks, swimming pools. Anything where they can just keep diving in and out of water seems to be a really important one. But, you know, every child is different. I have a friend whose kid loves sightseeing and architecture and history. So that's the good starting point to work out what you want. Have a budget and stick to it, because that's really important too. But within that budget, work out the things that you are prepared to spend money on. So, for example, if you're not that bothered about big flashy 5-star hotels with fluffy bathrobes and slippers, and you'd rather spend your money on a great car so you can go sightseeing, then look at a slightly less expensive hotel and spend your money on eating out or anything. So it's all to do with what you want to do as a family.
And what about amusement parks? Are kids still into those these days?
You have no idea. So my two, I asked them, and I booked a holiday for the three of us that had an on-site water park, which is not my favourite thing in the world to do. But the kids were like, "You've got to do it, Mum. You've got to do it, Mum." And they had this one ride there that I nicknamed the Drop of Death, because it was basically an upright coffin. They put a big glass screen over you, and you had to stand with your hands in the sort of, cross position, and it just counted down, and it went 5, 4, 3, and when it got to 1, the bottom just fell out, and you just dropped like a 20-foot drop into this tube. It was horrific, but the kids loved it, and they were very impressed that Mummy actually did it. So there's a memory.
And I once did the big one in Blackpool, and that was enough for me. I haven't been on a roller coaster since.
Horrific, isn't it? That bit when you're going up and then it just stops and then you're just, oh.
And I was thinking earlier on about childhood holidays when I was a kid. Do families still go to Bucklands these days?
Yeah, I think they still do. And I think this is the thing. This is going back to what we were saying earlier. For my two, it's making friends. They love making friends on holiday. So somewhere where there's like a kids club or that's perfect for them. But everybody's different, aren't they? I mean, the other thing obviously that we need to talk about is mobile phones, because, and the reason that I say that is I think we all do that thing, don't we, when we go on holiday and we go, no, not going to use it. We'll switch it off.
But we need it.
You do need it. And this is the thing. My dad said to me this year when I took the girls to it, would you just do me a favour? Give me a ring when you get there, just so I know that you're. And I went, Dad, I'm 52. I don't need to keep doing it. But he did. He was like, could you just give me a ring? And sometimes there's a bit of a nasty shock if your mobile provider isn't covering the area or the country that you're in. Because what's the first sound that you hear when a plane lands?
The first thing you hear when a plane lands is everybody's phone starts to bing, and then all the messages start to come through.
And it's not only that, it's, we need it for maps. Gosh, how did we survive before? Well, old-fashioned. We'd get a map out, wouldn't we? And then get lost in the hills of Formentera for days on end. But, it's not just to tell my dad I'm all right. It's to check restaurants, book restaurants, kids' activities. There's a brilliant, when you go, I was in Lanzarote with my girls at the beginning of the year, and they just put in fun things to do in Lanzarote with the kids. And loads came up, and it was like, whew. All of those kind of things we need. So we just need to make sure. The worst bill I ever had was when I first started filming Place in the Sun, and I still had one of those brick mobiles because I am that old. It was £700 for a month, because I didn't realise that calling my mum for 2 hours from France wasn't the same as calling her from London.
Oh no.
So I learned that lesson quite quickly.
So what's your holiday childhood memories then?
Oh, well, this is funny because my kids said to me the other day, can we go somewhere other than Europe this year, Mum? And I was like, I didn't even go abroad until I was 18. My memories were always things like we'd all go in this huge car. It was my mum, my dad, 3 kids, the dog, and my nan and granddad. And we'd all be sat on each other's laps. And it was always southwest, because I grew up on the south coast. So we'd always end up in sort of Devon or Cornwall or the Isle of Wight or somewhere like that. And just, for me, it was just spending time with the boy, beating my granddad at gin rummy, and going to the clubhouse and the caravan park, and my nan doing the glamorous granny competitions. Do you remember those?
Yes.
Happy days, yeah. And just swimming in pools and just basically being together as a family. And I think that's one of the core things for holidays, isn't it? So we all lead such busy lives, and there's always that, hold on a second, darling, I'll be with you in a minute. And just to go, do you know what? I will hurl myself down a coffin-shaped water slide for the sheer hell of it, And I think that's it. For me, when you say what are my memories are just of my family.
And as a kid, we lived in Scotland, but my parents were both from Belfast. So every holiday that we had to travel across the Irish Sea. This is 1980, so it was like a tin can crossing the Irish Sea. That was bad enough. But then coming to Belfast, and think about the time, there were bombs and tanks and all kinds of things happening here. And when I used to go back to school, all the kids would say things like, we went on holiday this year to Disneyland, or we went to Spain, or we went to the south of France. And I really hated my parents, because I would just think, my parents took me to a war zone for my summer holidays.
But you're back there now.
Yeah, I'm back here now.
I remember having to do all the because obviously there was no mobile phones when I was growing up. We'd make these little booklets for the car, you know, how many red cars can you see, or count the pylons. God, the hours, they just flew by.
And I also remember, and I suppose this is how I've ended up on the radio today, but as a kid, I would make the mixtape for the car. I would spend hours going through my dad's record collection and putting them all onto a tape for long car journeys.
Do you mix, obviously not in tapes anymore, but do you still do mixes for when you're travelling now?
Well, sort of, but it's on Spotify now.
Yeah, I always remember recording Top of the Pops from the TV and my nan in the background going, "Oh, I'd love another cup of tea, thanks, Chris." I'm like, "Shh, wait, we're on."
The memories. So, Amanda, have you got any more holidays planned for this year then?
I'm escaping with my girlfriend. I'm going to Ibiza on Sunday, so I'm going to need my mobile because I'm in charge of driving. But I've never been. I've never been to Ibiza. All the years that I've been doing Place in the Sun and modelling and other holiday shows, I've never been to Ibiza. I'm not going to the phone party bit. I'm going up north.
So you're not going clubbing then?
No, I'm going to this little rural hotel, which is where the data roaming is going to come in very handy because I've got to try and drive it from the airport.
And I was reading earlier on this week that Mary Berry actually ended up in a club in Ibiza.
Well, you never say never. You never know.
Exactly. Well, Amanda, as always, it's been lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
I'll see you really soon. Thanks so much, Robin. Take care.
Right, still to come on the show, we've got brand new music on the way from Boyzlife, and we're going to be chatting to Eastenders legend Natalie Cassidy right after these.
Let the good times roll at Super Strikes at the Jet Centre. You can now book your lane online. We've got 14 bowling lanes and 4 mini bowling lanes. Plus we serve delicious hot food and snacks, or enjoy a cold beverage with your food after the game. Discover bowling today at the Jet Centre. Jet Centre. Entertainment for everyone.
Next on the show this evening, we're talking about this year's Minority Recognition Awards, which are taking place at Titanic Belfast on the 4th of October. And I'm pleased to say that Diane Davis joins us in the studio now to tell us all about this year's ceremony. Diane, good to see you again. It's been a couple of years since you were last here.
Yes, nice to see you again, Robin, and thank you for having me today. Again, yes, it was 2 years. I think I was here in 2022 when we were actually launching the organization. And last year we had our first award ceremony, and we are looking forward to the second award ceremony.
So remind us what it's all about. How did all this come about then?
Yes, at the beginning, it was all about, showcasing the role model from the ethnic minority community into business in Northern Ireland, because there's no platform for them to be able to, to expose them. And that's why we actually created the organization for the ethnic minority community, where we bring the whole Northern Ireland together and then let them see who is there contributing to the economy of the country from the ethnic minority community.
And of course, it's been quite a tough year for ethnic minorities, and especially businesses within that community as well. We've seen all the recent violence and stuff. So, I mean, obviously this is a good way of promoting those businesses now and trying to help rebuild, isn't it?
Yes. It's very important, because with all the problems that recently happened, I suppose it's always because they are not, or they don't see how much they are contributing to the economy of the country. They don't even think that they are really contributing to the economy of the country. And because it's so far overlooked what they are doing, what the ethnic minority community is doing in Northern Ireland. And hosting an award ceremony or celebrating them, it's another way to actually showcase their contributions. And
so how bad are things out there? You're obviously talking to these businesses in your community on a regular basis every day. How bad are things out there?
People are still living with fear. I'm not going to deny that. Why? Because of all those businesses that were attacked, and with the situation of the economy, with the economy of the country. We have been speaking with them. They have been calling, complaining when the problem actually arises. They were calling and stating how scared they were, with everything that was happening. So we are really hoping that this year, and with everything that we are trying to do by reaching out to the Department for Economy to do all this, that this is going to go down and everybody will help support the economy.
And for all those businesses that we saw in the news recently that have been destroyed, are those people able to pick up and start again, or how is it all working?
It's a struggle. It's a bit difficult because when it's getting the support, they are getting the moral support, and some have created some pot to help them economically, but this is still being worked on, and we are still calling them if they need some support to actually come to us. So it's not easy.
So these awards, are a good way to show what's actually happening out there and to highlight these businesses as well. So talk us through some of the categories in your awards then.
Yes, last year we actually hosted the first award ceremony for the minority community in Northern Ireland, and that year we only had about 9 categories. And this year we have actually go further, where we have 14 categories, and on top of that we actually launched the Ethnic Innovators Competition that is actually sponsored by TechStart and Invest NI. So how many categories do we have? We had the Business Person of the Year when it comes to the businesses. We have Young Person in Business. We have the STEM category, the Young Person in STEM category. We have the Diversity and Inclusion Advocate in the community and in the corporate. And we also have the Inclusive Educator, which is actually one of the new categories that we have created that the judges really love this year. And we have the Inspiring Champion again. We have Hospitalities, we have Arts and Media, and yes, a lot more categories. It's just like so many categories to be going through.
So looking ahead to the 4th of October then, can people still get tickets for the event? How does it all work?
Yes, tickets are still available for the 4th of October. So that will be the Marani Awards night, where we'll have a lot of stuff. Like we'll have the dancers from diverse community. We have actually invited Siobhan Brown, who is going to be with us on the night. She's brilliant. So, and yes, we'll have some of the dancers, cultural dancers.
Of course, an event like this couldn't happen without the sponsors.
Yes, we are so grateful for all our sponsors, because last year we just had 3 sponsors, and this year we have more than double number of the sponsors. This year we had the support of Danske Bank, Sensata Technologies, Ulster Bank, Ulster University, Queen's University,
and Go Succeed as well.
And I, Belfast City Council. Yes, all those were really into it this year, so we are really looking forward to have them celebrating with us on the night of the 4th of October.
It's growing every year, isn't it?
Yes.
So next year is going to be even bigger and better.
Next year is definitely going to be bigger and better, because most of the corporates, where we are struggling to get into is the corporate side, but some of them have actually picked up, but it was already a bit late for the nominations when they were asking to actually extend the time for the nominations. Unfortunately, because of the judging, we have to go through the judging. There's a process. We couldn't really extend. We just say, okay, we'll catch up again next year. So it's definitely promising to be a good year next year.
Brilliant. Well, if people want some more information, is there a website they can log on to?
Yes, if people are looking for more information, they can come to our website. Everything is clear there. That will be www.minorityAwardsNI.org.uk.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a fabulous night.
It's going to be a fabulous night. And there you will have your 3-course meal, Prosecco on arrival, all the entertainment for the night, yes, and raffle prizes.
There you go. Well, Diane, good to see you as always, and the best of luck with this year's ceremony.
Thank you, Robin. Nice to see you again.
And welcome back to Robin Elliott tonight. Right, we're talking now about the unseen childcare hours clocked up by working mums, because according to some brand new research, 80% of working mums wish their colleagues were more aware of the additional hours they spend on childcare on top of their regular jobs. To chat about this further, I'm pleased to say that actress, mum and national treasure Natalie Cassidy joins us now. How are you today?
I'm good, Robin, and how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So before we talk about the new campaign, let's talk about the latest research then. Was there anything in there that surprised you?
Couple of things really that Maltesers have researched, which I can't quite believe. 80% of working mums wish their colleagues were more aware of their hours outside of work, and what they actually involve.
Yeah.
And that what they've looked at and what they realise, which I can't believe, working mums clock up an additional 8 hours on shift at home. So it's like, you're doing you're almost working a 20-hour day. And I think a lot of people in the offices, or, like me, I don't work in an office, neither do you, but the jobs we do, our colleagues don't realise that when we go home, there's a lot of more to do, be that emotional care for your children, or dentist appointments, or just screaming tantrums that you have to deal with. Life is exhausting.
Now, things must be difficult at times for you, because you're a hard-working TV actress and you're working all kinds of crazy hours.
You're right, it can be very sporadic, if you like, but I do feel quite grateful and fortunate, Robin. As much as I am a working mum and I find it difficult, at least some weeks I'll have like a random kind of Wednesday off.
Yeah.
And then I can squeeze stuff in. I think as an actress and a podcaster, I do get that flexibility. But when I get on a train and it's 7:30 a.m. and I watch people, squeezed in sardines on the train in their suits, and you see these girls and boys, don't get me wrong, but you think you're doing this Monday to Friday relentlessly, 7:30 in the morning, getting home at 7, childcare, doing stuff at home, housemaking, relationships. And you just think, I really do feel lucky, and I don't know how people do it. And that's why this campaign is about talking to people, not being a hero, and trying to lighten the load, trying to say, do you know what, it can be tough. And it's about starting that conversation and not making it awkward.
And I was thinking about a similar thing about travelling by train the other day. I used to travel into Belfast very early in the morning, about 6:30, when I was doing the breakfast show. And every day you'd see the same people on the train who always sit in the same seat. They sit with the same people, and they're complaining about the same things every day, about their office, about their colleagues, about the photocopier not working. So in a way, we're lucky. It's not like a real job at all for us, is it?
Oh, absolutely. No, we do have it lucky. But, we still have, I still have mum guilt. I'll still work really, really hard, and I love my job.
Yeah.
When in the most successful of times, when I'm really, really, the most successful times are usually when I'm really flat out and really, really busy, and I've got a load of things on the go. Then I'm not at home with the kids. So you have that guilt. And then when you are at home and you're having a little bit of a lag, you're thinking, oh, goodness me, is the career all right? So I think it's an ever evolving kind of guilt thing that plays a part in it. It's hard to just do the work-life balance for everyone, I think.
Let's talk about your career, because we've been watching you on our TV screens since the 1990s, and you basically grew up on TV in front of the nation. So was that difficult?
I always say the same thing, Robin, which is I've never known any different.
Yeah.
And I come from a very working class, normal family that have kept my feet on the ground. So for me, one brother's a builder, one's a bank manager, then there's me. I've got lots of family members doing everything. For me, it's just a job. And I've just been very lucky. I got a lucky break when I was a little girl, but I've kept it and learned, and, and now I'm doing lots of different things. I'm doing a presenting thing for Channel 4, which I've not done presenting for a while, which is lovely, kind of a consumer program, which will be good. And my podcast is going really well too, Life with Nat. So I'm very lucky, and I'm doing fingers in lots of pies at the moment.
And what about your children? Are they showing any signs of wanting to follow in your footsteps?
I have to say, both of them quite like the idea. They're a pair of performers. So God help me, Robin.
And are you encouraging that, or maybe getting them to rethink it?
With the eldest, I think I fought against it, but now she'll be 14 in September, and she does have a real passion for it. So you just want them to be happy in whatever they do. So I will support them in whatever they want to do, But I do say you've been very lucky watching Mummy work continuously, and for some actresses that isn't the case. So I'd love her to maybe look at production and go into kind of the other side of it if she's passionate about television and film, to look at all aspects of it would be lovely.
And how do they feel about having a famous mum?
I think it annoys them more than anything, and that keeps me very grounded. They don't, you know, if we're out and about on the street and people come over, which is part of my life, and I really don't mind it. You know, if I didn't have fans, and I wouldn't be doing what I was doing. But they get a bit annoyed, you know, that mummy's we're being interrupted and what have you. But it's lovely because it doesn't faze them at all.
Have you ever had any real annoying fans?
Most of my fans are really lovely, and I think that's because I've always played a really kind character on telly. So I've been very, very fortunate. And yeah, like I say, with the podcast now as well, I'm being kind of known for Natalie. And that's really lovely as well. I'm creating this community where people are really getting to know me and you know, my family and what I get up to, which is also kind of a new bow to the violin, if you like.
And podcasts, I mean, they've really taken off. Now is the time of the podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've come into it quite late on. You know, I think some of the most successful ones, you know, have been going for 5, 6, 7 years now, but it took me time to think about how I wanted to do it and what I wanted to do. And actually, funnily enough, I wanted it to kind of be that radio feel where you're talking to talking to the listeners, and they get quite a lot of input. And I didn't know how to do that, but you know, after a while of kind of really thinking about it and crafting it, and having, you know, keep it like media who I do it with, they've really helped me. You know, I've only been doing it a few months now, but I'm really enjoying it. I do love it.
And with podcasts, you can get away with so much more that you can't do on radio.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, you know, you can edit it a little bit if, you know, your mouth runs wild. It's not like live radio.
And on your podcast, are we going to find out any surprises about you that we didn't already know?
I don't know, really. It's just very, very candid and very honest. So I talk about everything from children. I have my partner, my Mark on there, my fiance. My brother's been on it this week. If you look at it this week, Tony's on. It's all about relationships and all about life. And we talk about very mundane things, you know, like the traffic and cutting in, or to, you know, being late for things, or, you know, what way you have your toilet roll. Is it paper at the front or paper at the back? But people love it because it's just normal stuff that we all talk about.
Coming back to the latest campaign that you're involved in, the Real Out of the Office movement, if people want some more information on that, where can they go to?
Well, if they search Maltesers Mother Lovers, and that will take them to the site, and they can access tips on how to be a mother lover. And like I say, this campaign is the Real Out of Office movement, and it's just having those honest conversations and helping working mums lighten the load, be it a family member, be it a colleague, and it's just all about having that conversation.
And in general, the most important thing is just having a conversation. That can help in so many ways, can't it?
Absolutely. And it's not just about your work, for instance. Your workplace might not you might have to have the meeting at that time, but if they know you've had a bad time, they might just be that little bit more considerate and ask, how are you? Are you okay? And it'll make you feel better about your day. So again, like you say, it really is every subject, but we're focusing on working mums. But you are right, just opening up and having honest conversations about everything really does help, I think.
And when you're in work in an office situation, you never know what's going on in people's lives. So opening up a conversation is really important.
Absolutely, 100%.
Well, Natalie, it's been lovely talking to you.
Thank you. Have a brilliant day.
You too.
Thank you.
Now, to finish off the show this week, two of Ireland's biggest boy band stars, Keith Duffy from Boyzone and Brian McFadden from Westlife, are back together as Boyzlife. They've just confirmed a brand new Irish tour that kicks off in the Ulster Hall here in Belfast on the 15th of January. It then moves on to the Leisureland in Galway on the 17th of January. City Hall in Cork on the 18th of January, and the 3 Olympia Theatre in Dublin on the 19th of January next year. Tickets are available now from Ticketmaster, and Boyzlife are back with a brand new single. It's called I Would. We're going to play it for you now. See you back here same time next week. Bye-bye.
They said there's not a chance in hell we make it. We nearly believed them, it's easy to hate on the past and all our history. Don't join them, just beat them. We couldn't stop, even through the stormy weather. Every bruise, every cut, every break, it made us better. Every tear, every high, every fear, every sky, every love, every lie, every time. I hope you know that I tear that's falling. We make my mistakes all over. Retrace every step because it brought us together. Brought us together. Relive every punch I've taken. Cause I'm proud of the scars all over. Retrace every step because it brought us together. Brought us together. I would. Maybe there's something different in our water. We didn't waste a single drop of it. All through the rain we kept the candle lit. While it was burning we couldn't stop. Even through the stormy weather, every bruise, every cut, every break, it made us better. Every tear, every high, every fear, every sky, every love, every lie, every time. I hope you know that I would recry every tear that's falling. We make my mistakes all over. Retrace every step because it brought us together. Brought us together. I would. My mother said, learn from pain, don't you cry. And I'll hold on to this till the day that I die. The deeper we fall, the higher we rise. We'll break through the clouds to find beautiful skies. I